Transparency is intentionally baring your soul to the world by showing your true self to others. People and businesses hide their essence in fear of rejection, lack of self-confidence, being brokenhearted, or a lack of fulfillment. And because of this topic, we wanted to change up a little bit the way that we've been doing our presentations. And I wanted to start off with just talking with our panelists a little bit and going around and asking a very simple question that many of us ask every single day without expecting to fully get an answer. But I think it's important for us to think about this question for ourselves and for the many people that we talk to every single day. So the simple question that we ask very often and that we typically do not expect to get an answer for is, how are you? And I'm going to start off with Jennifer Bagley, and I'm going to ask the question, Jennifer, how are you doing?
Ben, thank you for asking. My natural response, I just want to say okay, and we're swamped and everything's great, and that's my canned response. And I know it. I'm aware of it. Right now, our team is maxing out their hours, and now they have all of their normal business, and they have now all the free services that we're offering because we've kind of ramped up to try and help dealers during this time. In addition, everyone on our team, myself included, we're trying to find a new period of time to be able to help people in the community, and having a kind of a nervous and unsettling feeling on a daily basis of, how is each one of, how do I touch base with every single one of our customers to make sure their mind is right, that they're doing well, that they're focused on taking advantage of the time. That unsettling feeling doesn't go away day to day. And I think that on a daily basis that I squish most of that and just go to town, go to work, and create another task list and come up with something new and a new solution. And I probably am draining my team in some instances. So I'm trying to be cognitive and careful that we're not overly pushing anyone, but everyone is, it's different. And every day is a little bit of a new challenge, and answering that question honestly is hard. And I appreciate you putting me on the spot in front of all these people. Thanks. And no tears.
Well, thank you very much, Jennifer. And I know it's not easy to respond to that question of how are you? Brigham, I want to pose the same question back to you. How are you doing during this time?
Well, the right answer is great. I'm great. And the real answer is, I don't know, surreal. It's a crazy experience. 4 weeks ago, I had 50 clients call in and tell us that they can't pay for training right now. And I made a choice. And for a minute, I was panicking, right? Just like everybody else. It was $30,000 in income and residual income gone just in a moment. And I decided in that moment that they needed our help now more than ever. And I wasn't going to abandon them in their time of need. And so I told my team that we were going to continue to coach them for free. And we can either float it or we can just forgive it and not worry about it. And then my team and I got together and we started writing scripts, tons of scripts, happy call scripts, and how to handle the customer when they're concerned about the technician coming to their home scripts, and how to deal with a customer when they're calling in and canceling because they're concerned about the COVID virus script. And, as we got this feedback coming in, we started writing and creating, and our team's never been closer. we've never been more tightly knit ever. And I remember that, especially that first week, 4 weeks ago, when all this was coming down. It was the week where Utah had earthquakes and everything. I was in this office from dawn until dusk. In fact, my wife would come in at 7 at night when the sun was going down, and she would ask, "So are you ever coming out of here?" And I was just either talking to a member of my team or writing content for a dealer, just committed to doing whatever it takes to help everybody get through this. So that's where I'm at. Still doing that. Still doing whatever it takes.
Thank you. I really appreciate your honesty, your transparency with that. And I know there's a lot of other contractors that are kind of in the same boat and struggling with some of the same things. So I really appreciate that. David, how are you doing?
I got an old friend who I learned this from a long time ago, and he told me the answer is always, I'm unbelievable. Right? And you don't really know if that's unbelievably good or unbelievably bad, but I'm unbelievable. And right now, for me personally, I'm probably more motivated than I have been in a long time for lots of good reasons, but I'm also fearful. Not for me personally, but for a lot of people like many of you on this call that are struggling with, okay, what does this look like going forward? And how's this going to impact my business long term? I've got a son and two daughters, and our son and two daughters. So, well, technically a son and one daughter and a daughter-in-law. I consider her my daughter, my wife and I do. And all three of the women in my close family find themselves on the bench right now. One's in the dental business, one's in the restaurant business, and one's in the school business. So all three of our women right now are on the bench. They're unemployed. So, you know, I'm a little concerned about the financial impact that might have on our family, as with thousands and thousands, yay, millions of people. But I'm also hopeful. And in fact, in my belief set, I'm super hopeful. And this is a great week to be hopeful. There's some crazy things that are going on in our world, but I'm not worried about this world as much as I am the future. And I just think that we just need to keep focused on the big prize at the end of this game. And I'm gonna pass this on to my buddy Tom real quick, because I know that he is also unbelievable, but he's also better than he deserves, right, Tom?
Right on, Dave.
So, Tom, and thank you, Dave. That perspective, I think a lot of us are concerned about loved ones. Maybe we have people that are in a higher risk category, or we have people that are uncertain about the financial futures. Many of us are as well. And so thank you very much for sharing that. Tom, how are you?
Well, first and foremost, I want to send out thoughts and prayers for any of you out there that may be struggling or have loved ones that has, succumbed to this horrible pandemic. I have to let you know that you're being prayed for, and we love you guys. So, Ben, personally, for me, on my personal level, I'm very blessed. My kids are healthy. They're doing fine. They're able to get through. I'm quarantined here in Florida with my lovely wife of 35 years. And the amazing thing is we still like each other. So on that front, we're very fortunate. We're very grateful. The terrifying thing at first for me is I'm virtually out of business. And what's interesting is for having a chance to think through this a little bit, for the last 20 years, I've never had to explain to anybody what I did, because most of my business was word of mouth. It started off with 3 contractors 20 years ago. I think everybody knows who they were. And it was just the next project, the next project, the next project. And before I know it, off and on for, 20 years, that's what I did. My MO was to jump on a plane, fly to a business, apply the principles, and then fly home, catch up, and then go on to the next thing. And then that fast overnight, my platform went away. Nobody wants me in their businesses. Well, I shouldn't say nobody does, but it's less likely that I'm going to be able to build a business out of that or scale. And the interesting thing is, Ben, I couldn't, for the longest time, explain to people what it is that I did. So at first I was afraid, but now, quite frankly, I'm a little bit more empowered to have the opportunity to do this now and rebrand, rethink, put a structure in place where people clearly understand what problems you can solve and have a platform to deliver. So I went from being, nervous and upset to really fairly excited about the possibilities moving into the future.
Thank you, Tom. And I think a lot of people right now are in a place where they are reinventing themselves, reinventing their businesses, reinventing their companies. And so thank you so much for sharing that and taking the courage to be able to tell us where you're at. Matthew, how are you doing?
So me?
Either one of the Matthews, if you want to go there, it'd be great.
Changes day to day, Ben. Honestly, it kind of changes day to day. We talked earlier this week. I happen to have family members that have tested positive for COVID. Our neighbor has tested positive for COVID. We have a high-risk situation in our house. So we are doing everything we can to be as cautious and conservative with the social distancing. It's tough. But Washington was hit particularly hard, and we've seen the results of that. Also, we have family overseas, members of whom have tested positive, and they're in a very difficult situation. So our thoughts and prayers are always with those members of our family. And so that's going on, right? But then, so I read this Faulkner quote, and the quote is, "Be scared. You can't help that, but don't be afraid." And I think since we've started talking about this, I've been really thinking about the difference between being scared of a situation as a reaction and being afraid as a condition. And they're two very different things. And I'm working as hard as I can to stave off the condition of fear, recognizing it's okay to be completely terrified at times about what's going on, but not to try and let that saturate so much of what I've been doing or thinking. And then, I wake up today and my wife says, "You know what? We haven't been together this long in 8 years of marriage. We've been together for 27 straight days now. And it's been the best 27 days, that I've had in a long time." And then my daughter turns 5 today. She comes running in the bedroom at 6:15 so we can go and make cinnamon pancakes. And she likes frozen peas with breakfast right now for some reason. I don't know why. So she wants pancakes and frozen peas. So here I am making pancakes and frozen peas. I've been with my wife for 27 days, and there's a lot of imperfections surrounding that. So I'm reminded of the fact that fear is a reaction. It's a normal thing. But, you can't let it saturate everything, because there's a lot of good that's come out of this on a personal basis. And hopefully, all of the people that we know and love are going to make it through this as well. So like I said, every day is a little different.
Thank you for sharing. And I'm sure there's many people out there that have loved ones that they're concerned for right now. And I really appreciate you sharing that with us. Matthew Bratsis, how are you?
Thank you. Appreciate you asking. I'm tired, right? I think I'm not sleeping as well as I used to sleep. On a personal note, this has been challenging for everybody who's home. Everybody has their own issues. And, it's hard to, sometimes you look at your issues and you sit there and think, in my house, I've got a 7-year-old who's not at school right now and is asking me all the time, "Dad, I thought this was 2 weeks. When do I get to go see my friends again?" I've got a teenage daughter who's graduating high school, or supposed to graduate high school. I think at this point we can just congratulate her for graduating, because she's not going back. But she's also not getting a prom, and she's also not getting to walk down an aisle, and she's also not getting to experience those kind of things that she spent her entire life going. We all have those personal struggles, and it really is a challenge at this point. But then you you look around and you realize how blessed you are that the five of us are in this house together and we're getting along and we're enjoying the time together and we're not fighting and we're not arguing and we're not, we're finding time to reach out and spend time with each other. So from that perspective, like everybody else says, it's kind of mixed. There's some really hard times, but there's some real beauty to it. From a professional standpoint, I've got a lot of anxiety. I'm not going to lie. In the banking industry, this whole thing's about transparency, and I'm going to get into this in a minute, but it's about the banking and the lending industry right now is about as transparent as mud. And I think there's some anxiety on things that I know are going to be changing that haven't yet. So there's that anxiety of what's going to be coming down the road. So, but you have to deal with every day, and every day it's about problem solving. So from that perspective, that's kind of where we're at. And I look forward to continuing to build this thing and to continue to help everybody get through this, because I think we're going to come out on the other side really well.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Matthew. And I appreciate all of you guys sharing with us and being open and honest and being a little bit vulnerable in talking about what's going through your mind. I've got an announcement that I want to read for everybody that I think is familiar to most of the people that are on this call, and just want to go ahead and set the correct setting and tone here. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the crew, I ask that you please direct your attention to the monitors above as we review the emergency procedures. There are 6 emergency exits on this aircraft. Take a minute to locate the exit closest to you. Note that the nearest exit might be behind you. Count the number of rows to this exit. Should the cabin experience sudden pressure loss, stay calm and listen for instructions from the cabin crew. Oxygen masks will drop down from above your seat. Place your mask over your mouth and nose like this. Pull the strap to tighten it. If you are traveling with children, make sure that your own mask is on first before helping your children. That message that is all too familiar for most of us, especially those that do training and are traveling on a regular basis, there's an important lesson to be learned from there. The message that says, make sure that you put your own mask on first before helping those around you. How many of you as parents, as moms and dads, as sons and daughters, as employers or as managers have been frantically trying to take care of all of those that are around you and meeting their needs, whether they be emotional, physical, financial, whatever those needs may be, without taking care of our own needs that we have? And so what I would ask everybody to do over the course of the next week is take a couple of minutes, process your feelings, think about how you're feeling, think about what's going on in your business so that you can help those that are around you a little bit better and be able to take the time to do that.